Good morning, team. As Aaron said, I am so excited to talk to you about a newer module that was that was introduced to NetSuite. As I'll tell you in my intro, I've been in this NetSuite ecosystem for a little over 12 years now, and during that time, there was always for certain industries there was always a little bit of a gap, right, that we needed to bridge within the ERP. Um, as partners, we would usually go out and find third parties, right? Some of them were bolt on, some of them were third parties that we had to integrate with, right? But I think the exciting thing that we're here to talk about today is that's no longer an issue, right? Oracle NetSuite has bridged that gap. We no longer need third parties. Now it's just another module that we can turn on within the application. And of course, I'm talking about field service management. As way of introduction, my name is Ryan Balzer. I'm principal consultant and solution architect here at Oasis Solutions. Been with Oasis for a little over 3 years, but as I said, I've been in this NetSuite ecosystem for a little over 12. Like Aaron was saying earlier, both on the industry side and on the consulting side, I actually found NetSuite when I was working for a light manufacturer 3PL company here in Columbus, Ohio. We're looking to implement a new ERP, picked NetSuite, implemented that, managed that environment for a little bit, got a little bored, and decided to leave the industry side and join the consulting side to help or other clients leverage modern ERP applications like NetSuite. All right, so I don't have a ton of time this morning with you guys, but I do have about 25 minutes. So what are we going to be talking about in that 25 minutes? Well, first, I have a couple of slides that I want to go through to really set up what we're going to look at when we dive into the application. First and foremost, what is field service management? How do I know if I need field service management? How can I qualify that as something that I might be interested in? And then we're going to dive into a couple of leading practice process flows. If everyone on the call here is probably a NetSuite client, so we're used to seeing those leading practice process flows probably during our implementation. Field service management comes with 3 out of the box, so we're just going to look at those briefly. But then we're going to dive right into the application and look at a live demo team. And really, of those leading practice process flows, I'm going to show you how to install, right? So once we sell a piece of equipment, how do we then schedule to get that piece of equipment installed? We're going to look at some records in NetSuite, such as the enhanced case record, the enhanced task record that comes with field service management. And ultimately, we're going to look at 2 new screens that field service management brings us. One is going to be that schedule or that dispatch board, right? So now that I have these jobs that need to be completed, how do I find the right resource and assign and dispatch out those jobs to my resources? And then ultimately, once I do that, what are my techs going to see, right? What are my techs going to leverage in the mobile application to actually complete the job when they're on site? And then ultimately, team, if there's any questions, please put them in the chat. We'd love to help answer your questions. All right. Qualify field service. Do I need field service? I can qualify that in 2 questions, team. The first question is, do you have assets that need to be maintained? Those assets could be locations, they could be property, they could be equipment, they could be nested site location and then different assets or different equipment that we have at that site, right? Do we have assets in the field that need to be maintained, be that repaired, installed, preventative maintenance, right? That's the first question. Second question, team, is do we have engineers or techs that we need to send out and complete that work, right? When one of our customers calls in, do we have to dispatch out a tech for break fix? So if the answer to one of those 2 questions is yes, then pay attention for the next 20 minutes. I'm going to show you some field service stuff in NetSuite we can talk about. All right, team. Leading practice process flows. Like I said, these should look familiar to NetSuite customers, right? We probably saw order to cash, procure to pay, right? Those leading process flows in NetSuite. Field service management comes with 3 out of the box, schedule to install. So once I sell my piece of equipment, how do I then schedule to get that installed? Schedule to maintain. Maybe I sell a preventative maintenance contract, and maybe quarterly, maybe monthly. I need to. It's that reoccurring task that I need to assign out to my technicians to go and do some PM work on the equipment. Maybe it's break fix, schedule to fix. So maybe my customer emails in or calls in with an issue. The machine's down, it's broken. I need to be able to dispatch out a technician quickly to fix that. I'm not going to go through all three of them. The one that I'm going to go through, because this is the one that we're going to look at when we get to the demo, is scheduled to install. So once we sell the piece of equipment, how do we then do we then schedule a technician to go install it on site? So in this process flow, right, we start with opportunities, quotes, sales orders, and fulfillment. That's all core NetSuite, right? That's all stuff that we're used to. I'm going to skip that in interest of time, and we're going to dive right into after we fulfill and we've got the asset, that field service asset created. How do we then create the project and the task to be able to go install it? Once we create that task, we're going to jump over into the scheduling or the dispatch board, and we're going to assign that job out to a technician that might have the bandwidth today to go do it. Once we assign that or dispatch that job out to the technician, we'll jump into the mobile app and see what the technician could see in order to complete that job on a mobile application. And then ultimately, we'll see how all that information flows back into NetSuite. All right, only had a couple slides, team. Let's jump right into the application itself. And as I'm switching up, now we should be seeing my web browser. I'm logged into NetSuite. I won't do my typical dashboards and navigation. We're all NetSuite users. The one thing I'll call out to your attention, though, is with field service, um, we have another menu option up in our top ribbon navigation. We have this field service menu where we can get to things like our configuration. We can run our scheduler board. We can run our mobile app. We can see some out of the box reports that come with field service, and we can look at all of our assets, for example. And then it lists project case and tasks here as well. Those are native records in NetSuite that become enhanced with field service management. All right, so where am I? I'm landing on a field service asset. So this is a new record type that field service introduces, and it's that field service asset. This represents either that piece of equipment or maybe that site in general. Of your equipment that you sold to your customer. So for example, this is a piece of equipment. I can see the customer is Ohio State University Hospital. I'm based out of Columbus, Ohio, and it's that time of year where we're all Ohio State fans up here. So in my demo today, I'm leveraging that. So we can see that we sold this to Ohio State University. We can actually link it back to our item masters in NetSuite. So we can see this is an MRI machine that we sold to the Ohio State University. I can see that this is an asset type of equipment, right? And I can see that it's actually nested. We can have parent-child relationships with our field service assets. So if you think about it, what if we have multiple pieces of equipment at Ohio State University Hospital? Our top level asset is going to be that site location, and then we can nest all that equipment underneath that top level parent, right? So we can create that parent-child relationship. And then we can have things like the address. Where is this asset located? It's got some geolocating that we'll see here in a minute when we jump into the scheduler in the mobile app. Okay, so in our scenario, we've already had the quote, the sales order, we fulfilled it, right? So we sent that asset out, and then we created that field service asset in NetSuite. From here, we have to schedule or create that job to have it installed. I can do that right from the field service asset record. I can hover over and I can create a new service order, case, job, whatever we call it internally. That is what we can um, name this record type. Okay, so NetSuite's going to create that job or that service order to go install it. It's going to pull over all the information, obviously, from the asset record. It pulls over all the contact information. So once our tech gets on site, they know who to go talk to. What type of case is this? Is this an install, maintenance, or a repair case? We're going to go ahead and do an install case here. We have the ability to create project records as well. So if you think about it, native projects in NetSuite help us accumulate multiple transactions for job costing. So maybe we have to do some AP bills and purchase some other stuff for this install. Maybe we want to track time and labor against this install so we can see how profitable we are. Right from this case or task, or job record, we can create either a new billable or a new non-billable project. And remember, Project billing rules is what drives our invoicing rules, right? So is it time and material? Is it a fixed fee? Maybe we charge for parts, but we don't charge for labor, right? All that's going to be controlled on the project that we create for this install. I'm just going to create a new non-billable project for this. Okay, so we fill it out that it's we're going to create a new non-billable project. This is going to be an install job. And then we come down to our field service tab on the job record itself. So again, here's where we could actually assign, if we had a specific tech that we wanted, we knew had to go do this install, I could assign them right here. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to assign it when we get to the schedule board. I can put a start date or an end date. Maybe this is going to be a 2-day install and it's going to start today and it's going to end tomorrow, for example. Maybe I know there's specific skill sets that I need to do this install. Maybe I need an electrician. I need a tech that's an electrician to do this install, right? So I can select the skills that are going to be needed to perform this task. And once I have all my information, I click add, and you'll see it creates 2 tasks, one for each of the days that I said that this is going to take, right? So this is going to be a 2-day install. I create 2 tasks that I could schedule out. Maybe it's only a 1-day install, and for the sake of this demo, I'm going to say it's just a 1-day install. So we'll start it and we'll finish it today. Now when I hit add, it knows just to add 1 task. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this record. And when I save this record, NetSuite is going to do a couple of things. The first thing it's going to do is obviously it's going to create a case, right? And this case record is what's going to start to drive that outbound or that scheduling process, because this case record is going to create, this case record is going to create a project, and it's going to create a task to represent that individual job that we have to do. There's a little process that runs to create those. So I'm going to give it a second to run here. We'll refresh this. We'll come back. Here I can see my project. Here I can see the case that it created, right? And then from the case record itself, I'll be able to see that individual task, right? That job, that single day task that I need to schedule out. So when I come down here, I can look at my related records. And I can see that task that then was created on the project. Here's my task. Okay, so what have we done so far? After we sold and fulfilled the sales order, we created that sales or that field service asset record. And then from there, we created the job to go and schedule it to be installed. I'm going to now jump over into the field service scheduler, or that dispatch board that I talked about earlier. All right, we're going to give this a quick refresh to bring in some new information. Once this refreshes, team, this is going to be where our dispatch occurs in the field service process. I'm going to walk through what we're looking at on this board. Probably the most visual thing that we see is this map down here. So you can see I can zoom in, and that geolocating that I talked about earlier will tell me and show me on a map where are all my field service assets, where are all the jobs or my jobs that need to be completed. In relation to that, where are my technicians, so I can try and find a technician that's close to the job that needs to be completed, right? So everything's geolocated, and I can see where they are graphically or visually on this map. If I condense this map a little bit, what we see here above the map, this is going to be our schedule board. So down the left-hand side, we're going to see all of our technicians. And in the middle, this is all the jobs that have been assigned to the individual technicians. Now drawing your attention all the way over to the right-hand side, we have 3 tabs: unassigned tasks, people filter, and then assigned tasks. So in our people filter, right? Actually, let's look at our unassigned tasks first. So these are all of our unassigned tasks that I need to find a resource to do. So you can see I have a couple of them. I have 3. The one that we just created was the one for today, the 29th of August. It's this bottom one right here. When I hover over that task, I can click on the icon to geolocate it so I know exactly where this is located. I also have the ability to see the skill set that's required to complete this job. So in order to do this job, I need an electrician, and I can see the due date is today. Okay, now I need to find the right dispatch person in order to dispatch out, or I need to find the right technician in order to dispatch this job out to them. So I'm going to drop down my people filter. So this is my technicians. I'm looking at a list of all of my technicians right now, but I know this job is in Ohio, and so I know that's in my East region. So now I want to look for only technicians that are in the East region. If you remember, I looked at that job and I know it needs to be that technician needs to be an electrician. So I say, okay, show me all of my techs that are in the East region that have electrician as a skill set. And now I can start to see, okay, here's Catherine Glass. She's a technician. I'm looking at today, which is Friday, August 29th. It looks like she has the availability to go ahead and do that install for me today. So in order to assign this out to Catherine, all I have to do is take that job, right, from my unassigned tasks, and I drag it over to Catherine's line on my schedule board. And when I drop it, you can see it assigns it to her. Now, my dispatch hasn't occurred yet. The actual the actual way that we dispatch out, once we've assigned all of our unassigned tasks to the appropriate technicians, we come up here in the top right hand corner. You can see I have this little save icon. Once I save my dispatch board, that is actually the dispatch action. So this is what then sends that job over into the mobile application for the field service tech to use in the mobile. Okay, so quick pause and reset. We had our field service asset that we created after we fulfilled the sales order. We created that install job because it has to go be installed on site, right? Once we created that job, we looked at our scheduling board, found the right technician with the right skill set in the right area of the country that had the bandwidth today to go and do that job, and we assigned it out to that technician, and then we dispatched it. We saved our scheduling board, which dispatched out all the jobs. So to kind of round out the process, now I'm going to jump over into the field service mobile application, which is going to represent what our technicians would see when they log on to their mobile device in the morning. All right, so I'm jumping over here, team. So now we're looking at our field service mobile. You'll see this is, again, it's web-based, but it's also rendered to be very mobile friendly. So right now I'm viewing it in a web browser, but you can see very big icons, very visual, right? You can picture how easy this would be to use on a handheld, an iPhone, an iPad, something like that. When I log on in the morning, I can see some jobs that I've completed in the previous day. I can see jobs in the future, so my future jobs that are out there. And then here's that one, that install at Ohio State that I needed to do today. So this is my job for Friday, August 29th. If I want to see kind of a little bit more about this job, I can click on it, and in the map, it's going to take me. So it shows that I'm up here in Delaware, Ohio, and it shows me how far away the job is to my current location. If I'm on my mobile and I click on my navigation button up here in the top right-hand corner, it's going to launch my maps on my mobile, and it can take me there, right? So I can see the job, I can see some information about the job. When I want to start the job, all I have to do is click my start button. And when I click my start button, that opens up what we refer to as our checklist. And this checklist that we have in Field Service Mobile, this is customizable. But for the demo, I'm going to show you kind of some of the features and some of the things that we can do with those checklists. So I clicked start to start the job. You might notice that when I did, my start button then got timestamped at 10:28. When I complete the job, you'll see that my complete button will then get timestamped as well. So NetSuite can automatically track that time that our technicians are on the job. Maybe we have to split, maybe our technicians have to split their time up between travel time and labor time, right? I have the ability in the mobile to record both travel or labor time if I wanted to. If I had to split that out, for example, maybe travel time isn't as billable, something like that. I can click on the asset detail tab and I can see some information about that asset, the type of asset, what item it's related to, maybe the serial number. Maybe we want to put lockbox information, right? Maybe the asset, maybe the technicians need to access a lockbox in order to access the piece of equipment. So that type of information we can expose here in the mobile app for the technician as well. Once I get on site, who are the folks I need to talk to? Right. So again, we can list out those contacts that we have on the site so my technician doesn't have to call in and ask for that information. Maybe when they get on site, we want them to do a job safety inspection, right? So they can click on here. Maybe we have to record whether or not they require any PPE or protective equipment, right? Um, Maybe if this is a break fix, for example, is there any isolation? Do we need to lock out, tag out the equipment, right? That sort of stuff that we need to record here as well. Of that safety check, what's the outcome? Did it pass? Did it fail? Right? So we'll say it passed. And we can put in some safety details as well. You'll see I'm typing these safety details out. The nice thing about field service management and the mobile application is our technicians are leveraging this screen. Sorry, our technicians are leveraging this screen in order to record this information. What does every iPad, mobile phone have the option? It has that little microphone option. So rather than typing out this information on my phone, I can click that microphone option, and my technicians can then just speak into their phone to record their notes. Right? Techs love that. Rather than having to type out notes on a handheld, they can speak the talk. Right? We even have the ability to capture signatures. Right? So we can have or capture signatures right on site there as well. When I'm done with my safety check, I click my check box and I complete that, and you'll see that um, the green asterisk or the orange asterisk next to job safety disappears, and it opens up the rest of my checklist that I can complete. Next it wants me to go and complete that install record. So what was the outcome of the installation? Was I able to? What are some notes? So some installation notes that pertain to this job, right? Again, I can use talk to type from my mobile phone in order to record these notes. I can upload images, right? So maybe I need to take a before and an after, right? So I can come in here. Sorry, I can upload or I can take pictures and record a before image and an after image. I'll show you then how this gets tracked or how this then becomes referenceable, right, in the ERP, right? So before and after pictures that I can take. When I'm done with my install record, I'll hit my checkbox and it'll create that install record for me. All right, what happens if we get on site and we need to pull some stock or some inventory from our van to use on the installation, right? From the mobile application, I can pull stock and use it from my van, for example. So from my sales order tab, all I have to do is click the plus and I can select what is it that I had to use. Maybe I had to use a battery. Maybe this is a serialized piece of inventory. I need to select what serial number I actually utilized, right? I can add multiple um, pieces of inventory if I want as well. So now you can see I'm building out what type of inventory I consumed from my van during the installation. Again, once I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and hit save. You'll see that actually creates a sales order and item fulfillment back in NetSuite so that from an inventory standpoint, right, we're able to maintain our proper stock levels in our technicians' vans. Right, so created job safety, install record, created a sales order for all the consumables that I used while I was on site. I can see the history. So this is an install. There's not a lot of history here, but if we think, what if this was a break fix, for example, I could come here and I could see details of maybe all the other maintenance records or break fix records that I've had for this piece of equipment previously. Ultimately, I can come here to my job status and select whether or not I was able to complete the job, or maybe I need some additional parts. I need to come back later, for example, right? For our demo, I'm going to say we went ahead and we were able to complete that job. Once I say that the job was completed, that's going to open up the job completion and status. So again, who was the on-site contact that we talked to for the install? Let's go ahead and get a signature, right, from the from our on-site contact to verify the install was done. In case you guys couldn't tell, I was a doctor in a former life, so my signatures are a little sloppy. Um, who was the technician that performed it, right? Maybe we had a team of technicians, but one is signing off, one is verifying that the job was done, right? And again, get their signature as well. Once I'm done with my job completion and signature, I'm going to go ahead and hit my blue check mark again. And when I do that, I will have completed all of the necessary or required steps in my checklist to go ahead and complete my job. Right, I do have the ability to create expense reports right from my mobile, upload other files, for example, from my mobile. I can even create ad hoc tasks and assign them out to other technicians or other teammates if I need to right from my mobile. But again, for this demonstration, we'll go ahead and say that we got the job complete. So I'm going to go ahead and on my mobile application, go ahead and mark that this job was completed. When I do, you can see that it timestamps it at the time that it was completed as well. All right, team. So we had our field service asset record. From the record, we created the job to go install it at our client site, customer site. Once we had that job schedule or created, we went to our scheduler, our dispatch board, to find the right technician with the right skill set, with the right bandwidth to go ahead and install that today. Once we dispatched it out to the technician, then we saw what that technician would see in the mobile application when they log on in the morning and how they would complete that checklist to then go ahead and complete that job. If I jump back over for a second into NetSuite, I'll round this out and show you how all of that stuff now lives in NetSuite, in our core ERP, because this is just another module that we're turning on in the ERP. It's not a bolt-on, it's not a third-party application. Because it's just another module that we turn on, all that information is now held here in core NetSuite. So here's our service order, for example. Here we can see this is that sales order for those consumables from our technician's van. We have that here. We can see from our field service install, we can see that install record that we created in the mobile application as well. Jump over here, we'll take a look when this record loads. So here is that install record, right, that we created. Remember when we uploaded those images, right? So we have the ability to, now we have all those images that we captured right here in core NetSuite. We have all the notes. We have all of that information now within the core ERP. So team, this was just a little taste, a little taste of field service management. As Aaron said, we here at Oasis, we've put a lot of investment into this module to really spin up some strong experts on our team in this application. We are already helping some existing clients leverage this technology, as well as helping some clients or newer clients that have implemented field service management. If any of this resonated with you, if any of this looked interesting, if you want to talk more about this, or maybe you want to see some more, please reach out to anyone at Oasis. Reach out to Robin, and we'd love to schedule some more time to talk. So that was my portion of the demonstration of the user group today. I'm now going to turn it back over to Robin for the first poll question.